welcome back to Let's Get Real with Michelle. Thank you so much for joining me. And today we are going to be talking about something quite interesting. We're going to be looking at saving money. The reason I have actually done this video today is because I've been quite interested in the FIRE movement. So some of you might be aware that FIRE stands for Financial Independence Retiring Early. So the FIRE starters have a lifestyle movement. Their goal is to gain financial independence and retire at an early age. Now, that might not sound likely because we've all been sold the idea that, we retire at 65 or whatever the current age is. Mine's probably about 80 at this point. But what these people are doing, and people are achieving this, is people are actually managing to retire at the age of 35, the age of 40. And I just thought to myself, this is something that I would really love to be able to do. Unfortunately, I don't think this is something I can do right now, but it's got me really looking into saving money and how that can impact on your future, and can you be rich from putting money aside in the future. So what I noticed from studying these fire starters is that they maximize their savings rate by either increasing their income or decreasing their expenses. And in doing so, I also noticed that they just don't put their money into a savings account and say, I have managed to save X amount, £1,000 or dollars or whatever currency, and in 10 years, I will be able to live off that money. I'm going to explain to you in this video why that's not practical and that's not going to happen. So typically what fire starters would do is they would, like I said, maximize their savings rate. So they would say, I'm going to put away 60%, 70%. Some people are managing 80% of their income. So they put this money away and they invest those into assets. And so the idea of it is that they initially work out what their financial freedom number is going to be. So if they know that they live on currently, as an example, maybe say £20,000 per year, they work out what they're going to need to retire, and or they estimate how much they're going to need to live off if they retire now. So they would need to save 25 times the amount that they are spending yearly now. So typically what fire starters would do is they would work out what their financial independence figure is. So what this means is they need to know if they are, for example, living on £20,000 per year, they would say they need to save 25 times their annual expenses, which is the £20,000, which works out to be £500,000. If they can save £500,000, they will then invest that amount, and the idea of it is that they can then live off the interest that that money gives them over the next however many years that they're going to live for. They would withdraw 4% per year from the amount that's invested. So if you understand how compound interest works, your interest will then gain more interest and gain more interest, but your capital remains the same. So effectively, your 500,000 should, in theory, remain the same amount, whilst you are then gaining your extra interest every year, which then they live off. I might not have explained that very clearly. I do apologize for that, but this is how the video has actually come about, and it's got me really thinking about, if you were just to save your money and put it all in one place in a bank account for the next 10, 15 years, can you live off that amount of money? I think that's the position that I was in before I came across these fire starters. I used to think, if I could just save more money in the next 10 or 15 years, I will be able to live off that amount of money. Not true. If any of you are managing to actually put any money aside at the moment, you would be aware that the interest rates on savings are quite shocking. They're really bad. They're quite low. I had a look before filming this video, and this is October 2020, and you can get interest rates of about 1% to 3%. I have to say the 3% ones that I came across are for if you're like switching, or if it's some sort of specific special deal or something. But those are the kind of figures that you are going to be offered on your money at the moment. So just to put those figures into context for you, if you have managed to save £5,000, well done, and you are now getting 3% interest on your £5,000, this actually equates to £12 per month. I said £12 per month. Now imagine you have saved £5,000 and you are getting £12 per month interest on it. It's almost laughable. So obviously, it doesn't take a genius to work out that there is no way you're going to be putting money away, you're going to be working hard to put your money away, and you're going to be getting interest of £12, £24, whatever. It really depends on how large your pot of money is. But even if you had a lot of savings, it still wouldn't benefit you to have that money in a bank account of some sort or a savings account that doesn't pay very much interest. I remember having a conversation with somebody who said to me, you cannot save your way to prosperity. And that really got my mind flowing. Is that something that can be done? Unfortunately, I think I've arrived at the conclusion that you cannot. The first reason that I do not believe that you can save your way to prosperity is because the interest rates are so low that it's not possible mathematically for that to happen. So the second reason that I believe that saving money or putting money away now is not going to make us rich in the future is due to inflation. As you probably know, inflation has steadily risen over the past few years. So inflation is the rate at which the prices for goods or services increase or decrease over the years, and this is expressed in percentages. So you might hear that inflation was maybe say 3% in the last year or 4% in the last year. So that just means that the cost of a particular item, good or service was 3% less the previous year than it is the year that they're comparing it to. Effectively, if inflation goes up, then your money doesn't stretch very far because it decreases the value of the money. If you are a person who saves and you are putting money into an account that's paying you something like 1% or 3%, as previously mentioned, and inflation goes up to say 5%, then you are actually technically losing money in real terms. Of course, your money still remains as it is, so you still have your capital, but the value of the money is decreased because if you wanted to then use that money to purchase something, it wouldn't go as far as it did when you were saving it. So I'll give you some examples here. So if you were to save £50,000 in today's money and you were relying on that £50,000 for you to use in the future to live off 20 years time, obviously we do not know what inflation is going to be then. Your money may actually only be worth about £35,000 in today's money. The aim of saving is always to beat inflation. The main message that I'm trying to put out there today, guys, is that if you are saving money, you need to make sure that you are saving money somewhere where you aren't losing it to inflation. The other reason that I feel this way is because I have been quite lucky that I know a couple of millionaires and I get to study them, I get to talk to them, and I get to ask them how they have attained their wealth. It's something that I aspire to achieve in my lifetime. And I've also noticed that they haven't done it by simply saving money into a bank account. They haven't just said, we saved for 25 years and here we are today, hey presto, we are millionaires. They have actively pursued this by investing. And so this is something that it's just really made me realize that saving money and putting money away every month isn't going to make you rich, if that is something you wish to attain. So guys, please remember, I am not encouraging people not to save money. That is not the aim of this message. What I am simply saying is that, number one, I think saving money is a good idea. I think putting money aside for an emergency, for example, is an excellent idea because you do not want to find yourself in a position where you're having to take out debt or do things in desperation, like sell your house to pay for something that you might be able to cover if you had savings. So I do think it's a good idea to have savings, to have liquid cash, so if there is an emergency, you can access it easily. If you are planning to put money away for the future, you should try and put it somewhere where you are likely to beat inflation. Now, nobody knows the future, nobody knows whether you definitely will be able to beat inflation, but putting it in a savings account or some sort of account that's only paying you 1% or 2% is probably not the way to go, in my opinion. I remember this is my opinion only. I mentioned earlier, the people that I know that are quite well off are people who invest. And so these are a few of the points that they have mentioned to me that it's something that I'm looking into myself, to invest money in as opposed to just put money into a savings account. So in terms of what are the options, well, if I can't save my money and, not rely on it actually helping me out in the future, then what are the options? The other thing I want to say is, yes, I am aware that obviously if you manage to save £50,000 £50,000 is still going to be £50,000. It's still money. I completely get that, because I know somebody's probably going to go in the comment section and say, you know, £50,000 is still money. I completely get that. The point I'm making here is if you can maximize your returns, then it is something that you should aim to do. So in terms of what are the options, okay, so nothing is guaranteed. I'm not saying to you that you need to try these. I'm not guaranteeing that if you do try them, that you are going to maximize your income. I'm not saying that you are going to maximize your returns. These are just suggestions that have been made to me, things that I've been looking into myself, and I think they are worth looking at. So the first thing that I've noticed that a lot of people are into is property investing. So obviously this isn't attainable for everybody, because you do need quite a large amount of savings to go into this. But if you are somebody who has lots of money sitting in an account that's only earning you 1%, which is equivalent to £100 a month, for example, depending on how much you have saved, then guys, this is something that you should consider looking into. I know some people are interested in property, some people aren't. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but generally speaking, the value of property doubles every 10 years. So it's quite a decent investment if you'd be able to get the kind of returns that that promises. The second thing I would suggest that you consider looking at is investing in the stock market. Now, guys, I just want to be clear here. If you have no experience of dealing with the stock market, this is not something that you should just do on a whim. This is not something you should just do because I've said so. Lots of people who have experience invest in the stock market and still lose money. So I definitely would not advise you to buy individual stocks, especially if you're new to the stock market. What I would probably suggest you look into are index funds or mutual funds. So these are a portfolio of stocks that are designed to mimic the financial market index. So basically, instead of buying one individual share with a particular company or buying or putting your money into one particular company, what you are doing is you're spreading the risk by buying a portfolio of companies. So if you were to buy a portfolio and say there were 10 companies in that portfolio, if 3 of them were to go bust as an example, then your risk is spread out a lot better, because then you've still got the other 7 going and you might be able to still make money from those. But if you purchase one share, or if you purchase shares from one company and they were to go bust, then you would literally have lost your money because you put all your eggs into one basket. The final thing that I would suggest that you probably put your money towards, instead of just saving it into an account that's not earning you much interest, is actually to invest the money in yourself. Now, this might sound a little bit odd, but the reason that I have said this is because if you could spend whatever money you are putting aside on yourself to improve your skills, then you may be able to guarantee that you can get a better job in the future, which will then allow you to earn more money, which you can then use to put more money aside to invest and hopefully attain the freedom that you're looking for. Alternatively, if you don't want to use it for a career, you could use it to learn a high income skill, but you could use that money that you're saving that's not earning you very much interest or little interest. You could use that money to purchase a course, for example. So I'm not saying you must do a course here. I'm just saying these are things that you can consider. So you can look at how you can invest that money in yourself and how it's going to help you to earn more money. So guys, I'm really interested to know, tell me what you think in the comment section below. Do you agree with what I think? Or do you disagree with me? If you are somebody who has actually attained wealth by saving money, I would love to hear from you. I am definitely always looking for new ways that I can improve myself. I'm looking for ways that I can achieve financial independence myself. So if there is anything that you wish to share with me that you can tell me about, I would love to hear from you. And if you are not that person, but you are the person who has got some value from this video, I would really appreciate if you can hit the like button, if you can also subscribe to the channel. If you know somebody who would benefit from watching this video, I would appreciate if you could share it with them. And it really helps with the algorithm. I really want this video and the others that I'm yet to share to go to as many people that would benefit from it. And I will catch you next time. Take care.